What's up, everybody, and welcome back to On the Brick Road. Let me tell you, folks, I'm a little sad. I'm not going to lie. You see, I was in the midst of recording a fantastic podcast, about as fantastic as it gets for this particular channel. And you know what? I was so happy with it. I felt like I did so good. I felt like it was so nice, and I was just in love with it. And then I found out that my phone had connected to my car's Bluetooth, which meant that the audio quality was extremely bad. Now, the audio quality is always bad because I'm, in fact, doing a podcast in a car while driving. So you're never going to have good audio quality, but this was just awful. Like, this was truly just atrocious. And so I decided that I must indeed re-record that podcast. I'm so disappointed because I was so happy with it. But you know what? It's okay. I think I got a little bit more information now. I feel a bit more up to date. So hey, maybe this will be better than the first one. We'll see. Although I might be losing a bit of the hype. I was pumped. I was so excited to talk about this topic. Because let me tell you, folks, I don't hear anyone really talking about this in as much depth as I plan to go in it in the LEGO sphere. But it is definitely a very much talked about topic. They just haven't gone into it as much as I would like. So I'm going to do that. Now, unfortunately, pothole. Gotta love these roads. Now, unfortunately, the particular topic that I'm going into would really benefit from having some images. But I am A, too lazy, and B, just don't have the time, and C, I don't really know how to do it, to put the images on the screen. So you will have to listen to my lovely voice as I describe these various things and just picture them in your mind. Now, you're also probably wondering what this topic is that I keep tiptoeing around, because I have not said it yet. But let me go ahead and tell you, we're going to be talking about the various LEGO blasters that LEGO makes for Star Wars. Now, this is a debated topic because I see a lot of people that are kind of talking about, hey, what's the evolution of the LEGO blaster? I mean, LEGO's quality has been increasing just so much as of late. So, are they going to increase the quality of the blasters? Are they going to upgrade them? Are we going to get unique molds for certain characters' blasters? Or at the very least, main characters' blasters? I've seen a lot of people talk about, Han Solo's pistol, that needs to be, a blaster that's been made and it has a mold specifically for it because it's just so common and it's so unique. And, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can get behind that. And they're like, and they could just make a simple mold for, a droid blaster and use that on every single droid that they ever make, basically. And I'm like, well, yeah, you could, I guess, you could. And so I see a lot of people that are really just pushing for that. And I see a lot of people that think it's natural, it's going to happen. Surely that's where we go from our current stance with blasters. And I understand what people are saying. I've seen, custom LEGO Star Wars blasters. I've seen them. People love to buy them. They like to put them in mocks. They look great. But I have to be honest, I'm on the side that they shouldn't do this. And it's for two reasons. And one reason I'm not going to go into too much, but it's basically just, it's not as LEGO. It's cool, but it's not as LEGO as I feel it should be. So I'm kind of against it because of that. But the main reason, and the reason that we're going to be discussing today, is that the variety in LEGO firearms, in LEGO blasters, is so absurd already. This is like a rabbit hole. This is something that you don't think about, and when you start thinking about it, you're like, oh my gosh, there are so many different blasters. I mean, it is absurd how many blasters there are. And so I'm going to kind of go through all the different blaster types, their color variations, and their modifications by the addition of pieces. And I'm going to try and hit all the major ones. I'm going to try and say everything I can remember. It's a lot, though. And I've never really seen a video talk about all the different blaster types available in LEGO, which is understandable because it's freaking a lot. But once you sit down and think about them, you really realize, man, we we have it good with Lego blasters. Now, I should just give a little warning. I'm not going to be talking about melee weapons like knives or spears. I'm not going to be talking about accessories like binocs or like staffs. And I'm not going to be talking about any kind of explosives like thermal detonators. So all that's going to be skipped. I'm only talking about blasters, basically. It has to be a gun that shoots something. That's the only criteria I have, really. And so, to go ahead and jump in with it, we have to talk about the OGs. The humble megaphone is truly the beginning of the Lego blaster, right? A simple megaphone, and you add a stud to one end, and boom, you have a blaster. And now, so this is technically a modification because you are adding a piece to the megaphone, but as far as I can remember, they've never made a megaphone gun without adding a piece. But yeah, and the piece on the end has varied from, there's these little pips, and they're all like translucent usually, and they come in a variety of different colors. Most common though is red, I would say. Like everyone knows the red little translucent pip that's on the megaphone, and that's like the OG gun. That's where we get our starts. And there is some variation. There's also a translucent cone piece that was put on a megaphone. So that's also a variation. I think it was like an orange translucent cone piece to make a bit of a longer blaster. And there's also the longer blaster, which it's like the rod and it has like the scope on it, and you put a translucent pip on that end. That was also used as a blaster, just a bit of a longer one, kind of like a sniper or a rifle. And so that's also an OG weapon. Although I should mention that this particular weapon has shown up in modern Lego Star Wars during the 20th anniversary. It was given to a Hoth Rebel Trooper in the Snow Speeder set, and it didn't have any like pieces on it. It was just the bar with a little scope. So technically that had shown up in modern Star Wars, but it's mostly associated with the old days. One other type of blaster that you could associate with the old days is the revolver, most common from the Indiana Jones series. That briefly did show up. I believe it was given to a Clone Commander in the turbo tank, if I'm remembering correctly. And that's really all the OG blasters. Like, you had these blasters. They're the OG ones. They aren't really in usage anymore. I'm trying to think the last time one of these popped up, I think was the 2016 Lego Death Star. One of the OG blasters was like in a crate, and that was more just like a little nod, less so like an actual piece in use. But I just want to go ahead and get those out of the way, just because like they're OG, they're classic, they deserve to be on the list, but no one is really using them anymore. And that brings us to our core three, the three most common blasters. You probably own, if you're a collector, like 100 of these things. And that is the small, medium, and large blaster, also known as the pistol, carbine, and rifle. These things, they're the classic, just most base level blasters. Like, they get used for everything. Droids, clones, rebels, Empire, First Order, Resistance. They're literally everywhere. You see them everywhere. And they're great. They're good molds. They've been in use for like 2 decades. And this is really what people are talking about kind of replacing, which I think they look good. I think they work. And as we'll see a bit later, there's a lot of modifications to these. I'll just go ahead and kind of list off some of the color variations because that's a lot easier to do. And basically, the pistol has come in black, which is like the standard, but it's also come in kind of a silver color. The rifle itself, I think, has only come in black, which is kind of shocking. You think the rifle would have come in another color, like a gunmetal gray would have been great to see in the rifle for a couple Rebel Troopers, but it's only come in black as of right now, I'm pretty sure. And then the carbine has come in the most colors, because it has come in, gray, like a gunmetal gray. It's come in black, of course, but it's also come in like a silver color, like the pistol has, and it's come in white, which is kind of a bit of an unexpected one, but it has come in white. And again, fantastic gun. You know, the colors really do add some depth to it. Like, you wouldn't think they do. It's like, oh, we'll have a black one and have a gunmetal gray one. Like, it's not that much of a difference. But it really does add some difference, in diversifying the weapons of your Lego minifigures, your little dudes. And, and that's really all the main color swaps of these. And these are considered like the main weapons. And I think there's a lot of people that kind of look at Lego Star Wars and, or even collectors that are like diehard collectors. They look at it and they go, oh my gosh, I only have like these weapons to choose from. I'm so upset. It's so little variation. And I find that fascinating because we're about to go through a whole slew of different guns that are used, like specific molds. And so we're going to start off with probably the most common one, and that is the SMG. That's what I call it, at least. It looks like an SMG. And this is the piece that's been used as a pistol for Mandalorians and more recently clone commanders or officers. It's super common. It's been around for a long time. It's only come in black as far as I know. And it's a good looking weapon, I think. I think it shouldn't be used as a pistol. Being used as a pistol it's way oversized. If you look at it in Commander Fox's hands, it's like that's not a pistol at all. That is like an SMG. But it's still a good looking weapon. And it's used quite a bit, especially in modern times with all the Mandalorians we've been getting. It's really just coming out of the woodwork. But again, great weapon. Add that to the list. Another one, and this one's pretty common, is you could argue like, oh, well, this wasn't made specifically as a weapon, but it's still used as a weapon officially by Lego. And that is the like L bar piece. And you've seen it used for Mando as a pistol. And it's also been used by the Bespin security guards as a pistol. And so it just kind of gives a sleeker, thinner look for a pistol. I think originally it got used as a pistol in like the Secret Agent line back in like the early 2000s. And, you know, it worked as a pistol then, it works as a pistol now. It's a great inclusion. It gives this sleek, thin-looking pistol vibe. I really like it, even if it isn't overly detailed. And it's come in black, used by the Mandalorian, but it's also come in a, like, light gray, and that's where you see it with the Bespin security guards. I think this pistol could be great for a Naboo blaster if it was done in, like, a bit of a silver color. Like, so I would really like to see it done like that and given to some Naboo. Probably not troops, but like Padme could use it. And I don't think it's been done like that as of now. But again, there's another option for you. Moving on, we have the kind of double barrel blaster. And this is most commonly associated with, I think it was like Alien Defense. It had like the guys in blue uniforms, you know, and they were fighting aliens. And it looks like kind of a really oversized pistol with two barrels stacked on top of each other. It's probably most commonly associated with, in modern times, the Shore Troopers. It came in a dark gray color, and it had a binocular piece attached to it, which we'll get into that modification. But it's also been used by the Dark Troopers in black. And Andor, in the one Andor set that's come out, quite a shame there's only one, he has this, and he's using it as a pistol with no pieces attached to it. And so again, another great gun that it is supposed to be a gun, and it's been used by Lego quite a bit, even in modern times. And it looks great. It's come in the two colors, a darker gray and black. And overall, just, it's a really nice gun. I think it adds something when you see a minifigure with this type of gun. It really does add something. So moving on, I'm going to talk about some of the weirder and maybe more obscure type guns. We have the Alien Blaster. It's like a classic looking Alien Blaster. It's been used for the Geonosians. And of course, it's been modified. There's been pieces added to it, but it's never been used without pieces. But again, this is a gun made by Lego. It's specifically supposed to be like a ray gun. It's come with a multitude of different aliens over the years, and it's been used for the Geonosians as their little like weird blaster things. They're just weird, all right. But there you go. There's another one. It really adds some diversification. I think this is a great gun. It looks really well with the pieces they add. They add like a tire, not the actual tire piece, but the piece the tire goes on, and then like a translucent little stud, a little pip or whatever. And that looks really well. I think that's like a really, really well done, built up blaster. And it's pretty rare because like it's only used by this one faction, but like it still exists and it still looks good, and so I'm including it. And then we also have the musket, which has come from like, you know, the classic pirate lines, but it's also used as a Wookiee blaster, and it's been used by several different types of Wookiees. And it's only come in like brown, and there's no modifications to it. But considering how the Wookiee blasters look, I think this is a pretty fair use of this particular weapon. Now there is also the bowcaster, which, you know, it's literally just like a classic bow and arrow piece, or a crossbow piece, I should say. But it's been used by Wookiees, it's been used by a bounty hunter from the Clone Wars, and it's been used by Chewbacca, of course, to be a bowcaster. And again, this is obviously stolen from another theme, just like the musket is stolen from another theme. But it's like, it still works. It works really well. I like it. I think a lot of people like it. I'm trying to think of the colors it's come in, but really only like a dark gray is the only color I think it's come in. It might have come in like a lighter gray as well. But it's never been like coming in like a multitude of colors. And again, it's a pretty obscure weapon in the grand scheme of things, but like it's still one that exists. It's still really cool, and really like it. And this really is going to move us into the dark age, dare I say, of Lego blasters, and that's the stud shooters. I know stud shooters are not beloved by the people, you know. They have their nice play features, but yeah, they are a bit of an issue. And there's two types. The first type is the classic stud shooter, only came in black. It doesn't look that great, but hey, it'll shoot a stud, and you can use, there's multitudes of different colors that were included as the stud you shoot. All little translucent studs, or pips. And then there is a second version this is a redemption for the stud shooter, in my opinion. I think this kind of makes the stud shooter worthwhile, just because of how cool this is, because Chewbacca got his own custom stud shooter, shaped like a bowcaster, and it looked really good. I still use it as my, like, the Chewbacca I have kind of on display. He holds this stud shooter just because it looks so good. And I think you really have to appreciate it, because as far as I can think of, as far as I know, the only Lego Star Wars minifigure that has ever got a custom weapon made specifically just for him and him alone is Chewbacca. This stud shooter bowcaster has only ever been used for Chewbacca. And so, like, it was custom made for him. Like, you know, Han Solo doesn't have that. You know, like, Luke doesn't have that. You know, like, droids and clones don't have that. Like, this is only him. And I find that really cool. And I just really like the design. It's pretty neat. And with that, I'm trying to think if I have missed any blaster types, if there's anything else on the list of like a potential gun that has been used. As far as I can know, off the top of my head, there aren't any more. I think we've gone over all the different types and variants that are available, and I think it was a pretty well done overview. We went over the types and the colors. But now we're going to talk about the modifications, because the modifications that's where things have they've gotten really interesting and diverse, and they really make it worthwhile, where you're like, yeah, no, we don't need custom blasters because we have all these modifications that just work out so well. So, to start with, we're going to start with the classic 3 blasters, like the OG blasters, like, and starting with the pistol. The pistol has gotten modified a couple times, and I should go ahead and say now, the main piece that is used to modify like blasters is the lightsaber piece. That thing has come in clutch. It does wonders. But anyways, the pistol piece has been modified. There's been a black lightsaber piece added to the end of it, and this was used to create Boba Fett's gun for a while. It was just the classic pistol with the... Oh my gosh. Oh goodness, I have forgotten. I knew I was forgetting one. I could kind of feel it, and I was trying to talk my way out of it. But I was like, no, I think I talked about all of them. But I missed a very important LEGO Star Wars blaster. One that is really cool in my opinion, but kind of out of service. And that is the Clone Wars pistol. This pistol didn't have a scope, and it was a bit more boxy. And it only really came with, like, Clone Wars officers. And it came in 2 colors. It came in kind of a grayish color. And then it also came in black. And this is truly just a fantastic looking pistol. It's a shame they stopped making it because it looks great with clones. But I also think the black version is a really good pistol for scout troopers. I think it just fits them very well and fits their gun. And so that's a shame that I forgot about that, because that is truly a really good pistol, I think. So I am sorry about that. It's never been modified, though, so we will not be talking about it any further. There is no modifications that have been added. But yeah, so great pistol, though. Sorry about forgetting that. But anyways, back where I was, the classic pistol. So it's been modified for Boba Fett, adding a black lightsaber piece. It's also been modified for the Mandalorian, and this modification was fantastic. It was like a dark brown lightsaber piece, and then there was a clip piece with a bar, and like you stuck the bar into the lightsaber piece, and then the clip piece, which was kind of U-shaped, was on the end, so it gave the distinctive look of the Mando's kind of like rifle sniper thing, and that just looked fantastic. I thought that was a really well done, just cut, not custom built pieces made by LEGO, but built up gun. And I was really just impressed with that when I saw it for the first time. And those are the 2 modifications that come to mind. There may be more, but I think that's all of them. And now we're going to skip the carbine, because the carbine it's had a fair share of modifications that I'll have to explain a bit more. So I'm going to go to the rifle, which the rifle has had 2 main modifications to it. The first is you add a gunmetal gray lightsaber piece, and that kind of gives you this long, heavy machine gun, and that's been used by Cara Dune and Fennec Shan from the Mando series. I think it looks really good. Nothing wild, but it adds something. It's good. It adds a little color to the black rifle, and it changes it up. Now, there's also been the addition of a black candlestick piece to the classic rifle, and this addition it can be used as a really long rifle, used by the clones, or it can be used as a sniper rifle if you really wanted it to. And again, it really gives it a good look. It gives it a more rounded feel on the end, a thick rounded feel, which is again usually associated with clones. And so that was a really well designed gun, I think. Came out really well. It's been used by multiple clones. It's even been used by snowtroopers at this point. But absolutely fantastic. And that moves us into the carbine. Oh boy, the carbine. The carbine has a lot of modifications. The carbine really, they've done a lot. I mean, there's 4 different colors of the carbine, and then add on the fact there's all these modifications. It's such a diverse gun. So starting off with one of the cooler ones, there is a white carbine that was used by the range troopers from the Conveyor X transport from Solo, and it has a white lightsaber piece attached to the end, and then a a black clip with a bar attached on that to make it look like a grip. So it made this like longer gun with like another grip, and that gave it a good feel, a good look. Made it feel like it was something heavier, more like less like a carbine, more like an AR of some kind. Which really well done though, really good. Then you also have in the Rogue One kind of Rebels, you added a little Technic pin piece, light gray with a stud. You add that on the end to give it a bit of color. A lot of Rebel guns did have some silver on the very end of the barrel, and that kind of gives it that look. And that was really well done. I think that was great. Added some color to the gun, made it feel a bit more real instead of just an all black gun. Now, they've also put a candlestick piece on the end of the carbine. This was used by clones, just make it look like a bit of a beefier gun. And I think that looked pretty well. Maybe the sizing was a little weird with that, but overall, can't really complain. Like, it's pretty good. Now, there was also a version made for the First Order, which, I don't even know that much about it. But it was made for the First Order, and essentially it had like a stand attached to it that you could like pull down, so it'd be like a heavier blaster with like a stand on the ground. And I think that was a pretty good one from what I remember. Again, I don't know that one super well though. But yeah, and so I think that's the final version that I know, at least off the top of my head. But yeah, and like again, multiple colors with that, so that's a really diverse gun, super cool. Moving into the kind of the double barrel blaster from like the Alien Defense line. There's obviously been versions where you add a pair of binoculars to the end to extend the barrel. That's been used by Shore Troopers and Dark Troopers. It looks pretty good. I like the longer look. It looks very, very, very much like a Star Wars gun when you do that. Less so like an Alien blaster, So I think that's a really good modification. There's also been a modification where you add a black lightsaber piece to the top barrel, and that's been used to recreate Boba Fett's gun. Personally, I prefer the one with the pistol, just because I think it's a bit sleeker, and I think that's more Boba Fett's look with his gun. But I still really appreciate that design as well. I think it's a good gun. So that's that modification. I'm trying to think if there's any more major modifications that have been made to any of the kind of normal blasters, because we will be discussing some modifications to the stud shooters. But I think that's all the main modifications to those. I'm like cycling through, like I'm going through the records, I'm seeing a million futures, and then only one of them I actually mention all of the blasters and their modifications and colors. Only one future out of like the bajillion that I just looked at. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. So yeah, let's move into stud shooters, because stud shooters, let me tell you, when I was younger and I heard about these doggone stud shooters, I was excited. I was so hyped. I was thrilled. I thought it was so cool and innovative, and I loved it. So you know what? People can hate on stud shooters. They don't look great. I agree with you, but they're great for kids, or at least they were. And there was some modification available to them, because you could add a little like kind of like a L piece that had like a little like a anti-stud on the bottom. You could clip that on the back of the stud shooter and give it kind of like a stock. And I thought that was so cool, and I used to do that to make it like a longer rifle. I was like, yeah, this is like an intense long rifle, and it's heavy and it shoots off stud, and I thought that was great. I loved it. And so that was a really cool, like just easy modification that was done. But I really want to talk about a particular battle pack that came with stud shooters that blew my mind, and I thought this was so just freaking cool. Like, I was just like in awe by this. I was like, man, it simply cannot get much better than this. This is like the best Lego design, I thought. And that was the Inferno Squad battle pack. And so it came with two unique stud shooter type weapons. One of which I've kind of lost interest in, but one of them I still love, and I'll get into that. So the first one was a sniper, which used not the stud shooter like blaster, but the stud shooter that had like anti-studs that you could like clip on something, and it put that on like a piece that was used like for like heavier turrets. Had like a handle, but then it had like just a brick, and like it made this like weird giant oversized sniper, and it had like I think it had like a telescope piece on the end for the barrel, and like I don't know, it was way oversized, but I really like thought it was cool because it was so unique. But it's way oversized, so that's, you know, it's whatever. But they also made a fantastic modification, and that was they took a megaphone piece and they attached it to the back of the stud shooter, and they made a rocket launcher. Oh my goodness, that was so freaking cool. I thought, I was like, it's proportioned right. It has two handles, which is what the rocket launcher looks like in Star Wars. And I've compared this to like some stuff in modern day, and it still holds up as a fantastic purist like, not even, this isn't even purist custom. This is official by Lego, what a Lego kind of like RPG missile launcher would look like. And it came out fantastic. About a year ago, I finally switched out all the stud shooters on my minifigures for actual blasters. I finally had enough to do that. And you better believe I kept the rocket launcher, because I was like, you know what? This thing, it deserves to be here. It looks great. And it's just another reason that has really won me over into liking the stud shooters. In fact, I've made a couple more of these, and I've added them to different minifigures just to kind of like add some diversification of weapons. Like I gave a Rebel Trooper one of these because it just makes sense. And I gave a normal Stormtrooper one of these, and I gave him like a red pauldron to make him a rocket trooper, because like it just works so well and it looks so great. So I highly encourage, like, if you have stud shooters and you're just throwing them away, maybe, just maybe, take a look at making a rocket launcher or two and adding it to your minifigures, because it's great. And that is like the main kind of like spiel I have, and I wanted to talk about with the stud shooters. And with that, though, that really brings us kind of to the end of all the different blasters that have appeared in Lego Star Wars, all their different colors and all the different modifications that have been made by different pieces. And as you can see, because this is like over 30 minutes long, oh my goodness, there's a lot. And some of them are more obscure than others, but there is so much. And I just gotta say, at the end of the day, the sheer diversification of weapons is so cool. It's one of my favorite things to kind of keep track of, and like be like, oh, they're making a new Lego blaster, or modifying one. Like, I like to keep up with that, and it gives you so much. You have pistols, carbines, rifles, snipers, rocket launchers, like heavy like machine guns. Like it's so much. And so yes, I understand people, they really want to have custom blasters, custom molds, and that would be so cool, don't get me wrong. But hey, I don't think we can just sit here and complain when we have so much available to us, so many options that are so cool. And I just really love them. I really hope they continue to make more modifications, because this is something I feel like they've been doing more and more lately. It's been kind of like a boom, I feel like, of like making modifications to different blasters. So I really hope they keep it up. I think it's fantastic practice. Absolutely love it. And yeah, and that's kind of the end of my spiel today. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast episode. That I hope it was still good. Like, I had to re-record it, but like, I'm glad I did, because in the previous one I forgot the Wookiee musket blaster, and I forgot the Geonosian like classic alien blaster. So I'm glad I added those. But yeah, so I really hope I've hit everything. Let me know in the comments if I forgot a gun, or a color of a gun, or a modification to a gun. Please let me know. And I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've enjoyed it. It's made my commute to work a whole lot faster this morning. And I'm going to be, pull it into my garage soon, so I do have to let all of y'all go. But I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. You've been listening to On the Brick Road again, a podcast done by me, your host Kyle. And hey, I hope all y'all have a great day. See you next time.